Are you ready for fat loss? Are you ready to get results that you can rely on? Are you ready to feel good in your skin, in your menopausal body? I want to teach you how to gain control, quit gaining, start losing, heal your metabolism, and feel like you want to feel as a menopausal woman, or any woman for that matter. Your body's not meant to be stuck. I'm Connie Rutledge, functional nutritionist. I work with women just like you who are stuck and feel like nothing they do works. We put together a recipe for your success. I'm in a menopausal body myself. I've struggled for years and finally cracked the code and taken off almost 15 pounds that I couldn't budge for like 7 years. And together with some really critical tips and tricks, I've managed to hit my goal, enjoy staying at that goal weight, not yo-yoing up and down, by metabolic freedom. And it happens. You can do it too. Today I'm sharing 3 fat loss tricks, 3 fat loss hacks. They're not rocket science. You know these things, but I think you need to be reminded and you need to understand how important these 3 tips can be. And stay to the end because I do have a cooking demo today. It's like a spring chicken vegetable soup. I want you to believe that fat loss is possible. I want you to believe that your metabolism isn't broken. And when you get more metabolically flexible, you'll enjoy a body that you can trust. Sounds good, right? Number 1, and this isn't even one of the 3. It's believe that it can happen. Believe that you have the power to become metabolically flexible. You're not broken. That's super, super important. The biology of belief, right? Just appreciate the body's been through a lot, but it has healing capabilities. And with a little effort, consistency, and know-how, you definitely can arrive at where I call the finish line. But you know what? You're never going to get this job done. It's a daily process. Choosing well, believing that health happens, and consistently doing what it takes to live in a body that feels and behaves the way it's designed. Okay, number 1, eat nutrient-dense foods. What you eat matters. I know that there's a lot of things, a lot of info out there, but I feel very strongly that a very, very solid microbiome begins by eating real whole food. That means protein, carbohydrates by way of nature's carbs, veggies, fruits, nuts and seeds, real food, and quality fats. Today we're going to talk a little bit about protein and the relative strength of proteins. Eating quality protein is typically eating healthy animals. Healthy animals are fed healthy foods, meaning non-GMO corn, non-GMO soy. They're not pumped up with antibiotics and fillers that create kind of a layer of noise that transposes into inflammation in our bodies. So yeah, we want to eat healthy animals. We want to eat pastured eggs that are non-GMO fed, okay? It's confusing out there. It's hard to decipher what's healthy and what's not, but you can trust that typically organically raised animals are fed quality feed, and that's going to make a quality animal. There are some non-animal proteins that might be okay. Everybody's different in how they metabolize, but recently I've looked at vegetarian proteins in the freezer section, QUORN. It's a meatless protein. I'm not a huge fan of that, but I do have a lot of you that are concerned about eating meat for one reason or another. So that might be something that you enjoy on occasion. Tempeh is another really quality non-meat protein source. Tofu, I'm not a fan of. The Impossible burgers, I'm not a fan of. Those are highly processed. They're often sprayed with glyphosate, and they're just not quality. So your body will tell you by an inflammatory response, typically. So maybe you avoid that stuff. A lot of commercial deli meats have fillers in them, a lot of gluten, a lot of garbage that just shouldn't be consumed. So stick with maybe European sausages, salamis, those types of things are fine because it's a quality product. But when you go to conventionally raised or conventionally processed deli meats, maybe think twice, or just eat them on occasion. You want to avoid farm-raised seafood, but the canned tuna and wild-caught canned salmon, those are great to use often in your diet. Yes, some of us, some people say it's mercury laden, but typically that's not quite a big issue because of the way that that fish eats. They eat smaller fish that don't have a lot of mercury content. Sardines. I also want to emphasize to buy a whole chicken or buy chicken on the bone and cook it that way. Yes, the boneless, skinless chicken, even organic, is so darn handy and easy to cook up and easy to have on hand, but the nutrients are missing. They're lacking in that white meat chicken or white meat turkey. So as often as possible, try cooking chicken on the bone with the skin, because the cartilage and all the good fats in that chicken are going to support your body in a way that, that the chicken breast just can't do. So those are quality proteins, and then nutrient-dense vegetables. You just can't go wrong with diversity. So get vegetables that are coming, it's springtime now, and the farmer's market is teeming with new spring veggies that can be thrown into a pot of soup or roasted in the oven or thrown in a really nice, diverse salad. Raw veggies, those are foods that will increase the diversity in your microbiome. And I'm learning a lot about how important a diverse microbiome is long-term for sustainable fat loss results. When your gut is balanced and you have a diverse, balanced microbiome, then your body will be better apt to deal with metabolic chaos, okay? In fact, it'll heal from that chaos. And there's so many camps out there as far as style of eating. The carnivore diet, okay, that's so big right now, but I'm concerned about long-term diversity as far as gut microbiome goes. Because if we're going to be eating only one type of food, beef and bacon, well, that might work in small doses. But what I'm learning is that we want to be more well-versed in how we're eating to sustain our microbiome and build it up in a way that's going to support us long-term. That's going to support longevity and quality of life. We want to prioritize our health, and by finding a quality, nutrient-rich diet, that will really qualify for food as medicine. Okay, so our diet matters, and I talk about this all the time. You're gonna get sick of hearing me say it, but it's so important to really appreciate we can eat our way into being whole and complete. When we heal our gut and we address the tight junctions in what we call leaky gut, then inflammation goes away, and our body then has so much more energy to deal with all the metabolic issues that are needed to happen as we go along the aging process. We'll have a lot more energy to age gracefully and feel good and enjoy living in a body that works. Number 2 is intermittent fasting. By feasting and fasting, we give our metabolism time to process the fuel that we're eating. So you want to, tiptoe into this arena. Let's say if you're new to intermittent fasting, go 12 hours, okay, with no food. That will allow the whole digestive tract to do the cleansing waves and clean out and process, and then your body should be ready for a meal. You eat that meal and you don't snack. You eat enough at that meal, and I call that a feeding window. Whether it's an hour to an hour and a half, you eat your meal and then set yourself up for having enough on board. Don't go low calorie fluff food. Eat real food. Get your protein, get your carbohydrates, get your fats, and make sure that you're eating enough so that you can last for 4 to 5 hours until you open that next feeding window. And you eat all the food you need for that period of time, the next 3 to 4 hours, and you eat all that in that hour and a half feeding window. Maybe that's at noon or 1 o'clock. And then you shut down that feeding window and you fast until it's time to feed yourself again, which would be, maybe 5 or 6. And you open up that feeding window, you eat for maybe an hour to an hour and a half. And it's not like you're eating for the full hour, but you have a meal, and then you can have your second snack or dessert type food, allowable food, in the end of that feeding window, so that you can then feel very comfortable, satiated, and like you can not starve to death until it's time to feed again. Okay, that's huge. If you are more metabolically stable, and that happens over time, then you can maybe have a day when you fast longer, maybe up to a 20 to 24 to 36 hour fast, meaning you allow your body to tap into stored fat for fuel instead of feeding it. And that's going to really access stored fat, the fat that's sitting on your body that you want gone. And there's a really easy metabolic process that allows you to be more metabolically flexible and enjoy lasting fat loss, because that fat gets burned up. Okay, so that's amazing for metabolic flexibility. Lean into intermittent fasting. Practice that. Get good at feeling decent with fasting. And there's lots of information on intermittent fasting. Number three is exercise. You must move your body, okay? If you have an injury, if you have a shoulder that's out or a knee that bothers you, find a way to move your body in a way that doesn't hurt, in a way that's not going to continue to injure yourself. But whether it's swimming, whether it's walking, whether it's yoga, whether it's stationary bike, whatever it is, find a way to get moving, because your body deserves to be used. Sitting at your desk, sitting in front of your computer, sitting in front of the TV, reading a book, that's great, but in measured sittings, okay? You want to get your 10,000 steps. I don't care if you have to get out the door, circle the block, and then rest, whatever it takes. Put some music on and do some dancing, do some gardening, but whatever it is, at least you want a half an hour on the daily, in addition to moving around, getting up and down. I say, sit on the floor, get up. You can do a HIIT training, you can do a weight workout, you can do a walking video, but just get your body moving so that your blood gets oxygenated. It's good for your endorphins so that you feel like, oh wow, I actually committed, followed through. That's huge. So having that movement is hugely necessary for fat loss. It's going to unlock glucose in the body and burn it. So you've got to get moving, you've got to eat real food, and you've got to stop eating long enough to process what you ate. So there's 3 tips, okay? We've got so much more. Those are simple, they're achievable, and with consistency, you can count on your body responding in a positive way. Start small, believe you can do it, stay focused, be consistent, track your progress, maybe take a tape measure, measure your tummy. Believe you will succeed. Hugely important. And if you have issues that prevent you from succeeding, there might be a root cause. That's when you schedule the jumpstart session with me. We dig deep. We create that recipe for success. If you've got some metabolic chaos going on, there could be a reason. Is the gut unhappy? Is your thyroid unhappy? We can determine these things. Let's look at your blood work. Let's look at the blatant clues that your body's giving you. Hugely important to have lasting success. By doing these 3 steps, these 3 hacks, your body will heal. Okay, you'll feel better. You'll thank me. Stay tuned for the cooking demo, and I'll see you later. Welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how to make a really easy chicken vegetable soup. It's springtime right now. The weather is getting warmer, but I feel it's a perfect time to enhance your microbiome and maybe lose a few pounds by cleaning up your diet, eating super simply. We're gonna do lots of vegetables, some chicken, a super simple soup. I'm gonna throw it in my Instapot. You definitely can put it on the stove or your crock pot. Have a really healthy meal ready to go in maybe an hour. The idea here is to eat different types of vegetables than maybe you've been eating all winter long. It's springtime. The green vegetables are starting to be very abundant. They're definitely going to pack a punch of nutrients and feed your microbiome amazing diversity. Gut health is so important, and if we don't feed those microbes, well, we could be lacking in really key nutrients and the types of probiotics that help us lose fat. And we're gonna have a lot more information coming down the pike. There's great new gut testing available, and I'm super excited to offer that piece in my practice, because honestly, if your microbiome is off and your gut bugs are off in the wrong direction, you will definitely pile on weight and absolutely not be able to lose fat. Okay, so let's get started. I've got some celery here. Actually, I have lots of celery, and it's a super easy thing. It's nice and tasty in a soup, as it tends to be a little sweeter, has lots and lots of minerals, and so we will rinse these off. And get them sliced. This is a 1-pot meal. Everything goes in the pot. Some water, some seasonings, and it just boils. And you've got several meals. I've got a couple carrots, about 3 new potatoes, Yukon Golds, whatever you'd like. You could do sweet potato. 1 zucchini. I have some fennel, and this makes a really sweet soup. Definitely gives a nice profile. Fennel is amazing for gut health. And then these are dandelion greens, something probably you haven't been eating. And I like to say, when you go to the grocery store or to the farmer's market, you might want to pick 1 or 2 vegetables that you don't eat on the regular and add that in somehow to your weekly intake. I do have some organic chicken breast today. Also, the organic mention is very important to purchase organic vegetables. If you can't do organic because they're not available, or it's just not something you can afford, then please look for the Clean 15 and maybe focus on those and look at the Dirty Dozen. That's it, Dirty Dozen, and just pay attention so that you're not getting the pesticides, because those again will downgrade your gut function. The pesticide acts like an antibiotic. It will really lower and kill really beneficial gut bugs. So that's another just reason why we want to avoid those pesticides. All right, I'm gonna keep chopping. I don't peel my carrots, chop them, in the pot they go. Cooked carrots will add a little bit of starch and sweetness. My zucchini, I'm gonna quarter it. This fennel is such a nice addition to a soup. Just pull off the kind of weird looking pieces. Having these little leaves is gonna be no problem at all. These kind of licoricey. When you get down to the bulb, you might want to slice it. End piece, that can go in the trash. Sometimes the outside skin is a little tough, but in a soup it should soften up nicely. There is the fennel, that goes in. Next goes the greens. These tend not to be bitter. Just gonna chop them. And then my couple of potatoes. We're gonna add the chicken and let it go. All right, this is Costco chicken, organic chicken breasts. There's no fat, there's no bones, unfortunately. I like to use, this is even still frozen. So in the Instapot, I'm just gonna add that right in. The juice goes to Max, my cat. He loves it. And since this has no fat, and the vegetables obviously have no fat, I'm gonna do some duck fat. You could do some butter, you could do olive oil, you could do avocado oil, but I'm gonna add about 2 tablespoons of fat, just because everything will just be a little bit better absorbed, and fat is flavor, remember? That should do it. And then I'm gonna add about a quart of water. Reverse osmosis, my filtered water. I might add 2 quarts, depends on. All right, that looks pretty good. The Instapot is less than 2/3 full. Those vegetables are gonna cook down very, very quickly, and they're not gonna have too much volume, so I don't have to worry about that. I do need to season it. I'm gonna use my rub recipe. You could use salt and pepper and any kind of maybe thyme, oregano, paprika, whatever you want. The fun thing is that these flavors are gonna create something very mild. You're gonna have a low carbohydrate, high protein, delicious microbiome friendly soup that you can enjoy for maybe 7 meals. Depending, I think I put 1.5 pounds of chicken in. Okay, I've got my rub recipe. I'm gonna sprinkle a couple tablespoons. And if you want that rub recipe, I know it's in a video somewhere, email me, I'll send it to you. Make sure that the pressure knob is where it needs to be on your machine. If you've got the stove, you don't need to worry about it. Just bring it to a good boil and then turn it down low, and it can cook for hours. If you wanna speed it up, cook it on high for maybe half hour. Make sure that the meat is cooked. Speaking of the chicken, you could add any kind of meat into this soup. If you wanted to do just plain hamburger, you could. You could add turkey. Sometimes I will add in chicken drumsticks, but you're gonna have to fish out the bones and the cartilage and the skin if you don't like that in your soup. So, all right, I'm gonna turn it to 30 minutes and we're good to go. How easy is that? I just did the math on 1.5 pounds of chicken breast. There's about 160 grams of protein. So you divide that by as many meals as you get with the soup recipe. And by the way, this soup is smelling really good. 165 grams of protein in this little Instapot. I mean, there's gonna be several bowls of soup. And you can really kind of tally that up for your macros. That's a really simple, nutritious way to get a good quality meal. Okay, soup's ready. And remember, I just put that chicken in the top. It was frozen, remember? And we'll just stir it in. It's flaking. Oh my gosh. That's super easy. Got greens. Break that up and the potatoes are gonna kind of thicken it. Taste it and season it and enjoy a super delicious, hearty springtime soup. Okay, so I think that about does it for today, but I also wanted to just give another tip here. When you're fasting, waiting to eat, and you're feeling maybe a little bit tired or anxious or hungry, maybe you want to try a liquid mineral supplement called Beam. This Micro Boost formula, it's a liquid. It's fulvic and humic minerals, among a bunch of others. This is a mineral supplement that it's flavorless, it doesn't have stevia, it doesn't taste like anything, but it's gonna fortify your body. Minerals are the spark plugs of the body. And the cool thing about the humic and the fulvic minerals are that the fulvic acid goes into the cell with a positive ion charge. So the body accepts it into the cell and it delivers all of those micro minerals that are gonna boost your energy. They're gonna replenish the minerals that you're losing, especially if you're losing fat. If you're really successfully dieting and you're losing a lot of fat, you're losing a lot of water. And with that fluid goes really essential minerals. Okay, so you're drinking this mineral drink. It's replenishing you cellularly, which is amazing. It's also got antioxidants. It's a chelator to pull toxins out, because once that positive ion goes into the cell, delivers all the goodness, it magically changes into a negative ion, pulling out toxins. And how cool is that, right? And then the humic mineral that's part of the mixture of this electrolyte supplement, it then mops up those toxins and pulls them out of the bloodstream. You pee them out, you sweat them out, you poop them out, and you no longer have to deal with those toxins. So it is optimal fasting support, honestly. It's gonna help your tissues. It's gonna help with immunity, an immune boost for sure. It's gonna reduce your overall systemic inflammation. So again, I think it's about $48 for this bottle. I mean, there's 32 fluid ounces. If you have an ounce a day, just in plain water, you can drink it straight. But honestly, with my discount code, 20% off, that's an extra $10 off. And you're gonna be miles ahead with a better feeling body, a better fat loss outcome. And I mean, you can't lose. It's definitely worth a try. Lower inflammation, improved immune function, more energy, and just better all cellular function. I think that does it. I hope you have a great day. I hope you have a great week. Give this information a try. Eat real food. Believe that change can happen. Believe that you're capable of improving your day-to-day. Enjoy yourself. Okay, life's too short. At this stage, just enjoy where you are because that's essential. Make sure that you thank your body, even though it doesn't seem to be working the way you want it to. Just appreciate how far you've come and get started, okay? We'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.